solution to challenges like trying to, I think one of the most popular ones was the construction industry. So, build up a solution for the construction industry. That was really powerful, and we really love that one. So in general, that's what we have been doing. Our next event was supposed to be in April. With all the changes happening right now and with the use of virtual space. So we are switching over, and our next event is going to be virtual, completely virtual. We will be publishing it out more details in the next couple of days, but it's going to be an amazing challenge where we want as many teams as possible. Our goal is 100 teams across the world, or high school kids to participate. And I really hope we would beat that number by a margin. So look out for those details in the coming days. We'll probably use the Educators in VR platform as one of the places to publish it. Other than that, I have been an enterprise consultant. So I work with Oracle products and implementing those products to customers and working with supply chain. That's what I've been doing. So that's my job. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, excellent. Okay, so definitely you've got a technological background, but the reason you're standing here today is because I thought we could explore another aspect of what you're about, which is the fact that you've gone halfway around the world at some point in your life, haven't you? You've ended up in the United States of America, and you're going to share a little bit with us today. The food and the music that you're all about and where you come from, because you reflect really this, the modern world, in the sense that it's, many people can have the possibility to go around the world in this industry, in particular with technology. So, how long have you been living in the US?
Close to now 19 years, 18, okay. 19 years. Yeah. Like, I mean, as you mentioned, I grew up in India for my first 22 years. And then I moved to the US to do my master's. Okay. And since then, master's turned into job, working over here, and now having a young family. So still, we have adopted to the US, but still hang on to our Indian roots. And for a lot of things, we are still Indian at heart.
Yeah, great. Okay. So you went over there for the Masters. I mean, did you ever intend on returning to India, or was it kind of like, you just wanted to go over and study in America to see where...
Another country for 4 years now. so I mean, it just one thing or the other keeps coming up, and probably, I mean, the goals or things keep moving from one your achievements or goals keep moving, and then so on and so forth. So you first you want to get your job, then you want to earn some money, then you want to probably start a family, so on and so forth. So it's every passing year it becomes difficult, but I hope so. At some point of time, I'm able to make that decision and move back.
Yes. Okay, great. Well, let's jump forward to the first slide, and this is get ready for some colour, people, because this is really reflecting everything that Rohit's culture is about. Is colourful, vibrant in situation. So you sent me this slide and talk about this. What have we got here?
So, I mean, in India, 1 billion people, cultures, there are multiple languages, regions. I mean, when you and I were chatting about festivals and which festival to bring forth, I mean, there are festivals that are probably more familiar according to region. So if you look at this slide, I mean, the festivals at the bottom, the very first one, Vaisakhi, this is more in northern India that is celebrated. It is like a harvest festival. At the same time, the second picture, which is Jallikattu, this is in southern India, and it is similar to how you have the run of the bulls in Spain, which is quite popular. This is kind of similar to it. You have to hang on to bulls as they run through. This is quite popular in southern India, as I already mentioned. I think it's more popular within the rural community, and again, it's the same time like a harvest festival. So it happens in January, February time frame. The third one, Ganesh Chaturthi, this is Lord Ganesha, yeah, one of the most popular gods, I would say, in India, and this is in Western India. So it started about 100 years ago as a festival for the community to be brought together in form of religion and so on and so forth. And that was the motive behind it. So little bit of history. India was under the British rule for 200 plus years. And they wanted, Indians wanted the community to come together, and they used this as a tool so that this is a 10-day long festival where the community celebrates it all together. And I am from Western India, I am from Mumbai. And this is something.
Amplify your voice.
Let me try it again. Let me see if I can increase. I think this is the max I can go.
Okay. I can hear you pretty clearly.
Okay. All right. Maybe it was just me.
Great.
Sorry about
that. So those are the festivals which are more on the regional side. And if you look at the pictures on the top, and the very first two pictures, I mean, Diwali and Holi, these are the two of the most popular festivals. And a lot of people associate these festivals with India quite a bit. I mean, Diwali is across the country. This is celebrated in October, November time frame. The Festival of Lights. There is a lot of, it's a Hindu festival, and there is a lot of religion associated to it, or the stories or mythological stories associated to it. But I mean, I've seen people across the board celebrating it on a grand scale. And it's just a fun festival. I think one of my fondest memories as a kid has been around this festival, because we used to get 20 days off from school to celebrate. So it was fun. It was really fun. And Holi, again, Holi is around March. It's a spring festival, festival of colors. It's just fun. This is, I think, as a kid, most of the times you are being told not to get dirty, but this is one festival where you can get dirty, you can get messy, and which kid doesn't like that, right? You get that opportunity to get messy and celebrate it that way. The third image over there is, this is a festival which is celebrated in eastern part of India. It is for a goddess called Durga, and again, this is celebrated, I think, around September, October, just before Diwali, and it's quite popular in the Eastern India. And the last image is about Eid. So Eid is a Muslim festival, and it is celebrated across the world. Similarly, it's celebrated in India, and India has a sizable Muslim population. So this is quite popular. I mean, I've gone to my friends, Muslim friends, and celebrated this festival with them, and it's just fun way to do it. So I mean, I think that's the beauty of festivals, that they can bring people across boards or across religions, celebrate it together, and share the culture behind it, share the food behind it, and stories behind it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and we're going to touch on a bit later about how you bridge that gap with, across the halfway across the world with these festivals that you grew up with, and the American festivals as well. So we're going to touch on that later. But let's move to the next slide, which shows something else, which is quite interesting. And there we go. There's a few more pictures there. What can you say about this?
So what I was putting the slides together is these are three festivals that over the years have been like, even though I've been moved to the US, these are the three festivals that I celebrate on a grand scale, or somehow associate strongly with them. Either, as I mentioned, like Diwali, I have fond memories because of holiday and just that whole celebration around it. Ganesh Chaturthi, because Mumbai, this has a strong presence in Mumbai. So if you are in India and invest in India around August, September, you might see this festival. And if you get a chance, you will see huge processions of and huge idols of Ganesh, 35 feet tall, and people just celebrate it on a grand scale. There is a lot of music and sound and associated with it. So I have great memories about it. And the third festival is Holi. Again, that is one festival I greatly enjoyed as a kid. Color is one thing that you get to play around with. Then there are water balloons that you will use to play around, and as kids you can do a lot of mischief with it and get into trouble. So that's one of the reasons that I really enjoy these three festivals. And as I mentioned, like when I came to the US and I was doing my master's, Diwali, there used to be a Diwali festival that used to be celebrated on campus-wide level. So we used to get that opportunity to celebrate that festival at that grand scale, and kind of be associated with it, even though we not outside the country. So that was that. I mean, that was one of the greatest things. For Holi, I think Holi has, or the Festival of Colors, that this has taken a different spin where I keep hearing, or I've not participated myself, but I keep hearing about these color runs where there are folks running for 5K or something like that, and they use these colors to be sprayed on it throughout the route. So it's a fun way, but I associated with Holi, and that is one festival. I think one of the slides that my 4-year-old really enjoys it for
Yes.
the whole reason of getting to be messy and nobody shouts at you for being messy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm gonna How would you compare these now at this point to the American festivals that you're used to over there? Because, I mean, there's an awful lot of colour. I can't think of any festivals really in my country, in the UK or Italy, that are such vibrant colours. Why is this such a part of maybe Indian culture? Is there a reason for that? It's just coincidence?
I think because the festival is during the spring or the beginning of the spring
Okay.
festival.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like when spring arrives, I mean, right now, if you, we are already past the first day of spring in the northern hemisphere, and you probably start seeing the vibrant colors or flowers, petals, those kind of things. So I think that's the reason behind this festival. There is also a religious story because again, Holi is a Hindu festival, so there is a religious story behind it too. But the use of colors and the vibrancy is associated with the springtime. So
Yes.
that's probably the reason why the use of colors. And that's correct what you said. I don't know about an American festival which uses colors at such a grand scale.
Yeah. Okay. All right. jump forward to the next slide before we do that. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to raise their hand. You just go down the bottom right there, you can click raise hand button. If you can come to us and ask any questions, it might answer questions. Has anybody ever been to India before? We get some hearts, some claps, some smiley faces. Okay. We're going to pipe up. Do you want to click the raise hand button? Tell us a little bit about your experience there. There we go. Fire away. Finger on your microphone goes to pipe. What do you want to say? We can't hear you, mate. I don't know what's going on. I'm not double check audio. We cannot hear you. You try again and come back to us. Is anybody here living in a foreign country like I am? Italy, from the originally got Rohit in the US. I'm talking to you. If you're from a foreign country, or I imagine it is. That's your comment. I can say the same for Italy. Does America pull our homes next month? I think it is.
It does. Over the years, you would add the new country, it does feel like.
Sure. Have we got anybody here who is living in a foreign country right now? No. Anyone? No. Okay. Just us two then. Yeah. Well. What things do you miss about home?
I think somebody
Karen.
Yes.
What do you want to say? Yeah.
No, I lived in Puerto Rico when I was younger.
Okay. How did you find that?
I loved it. I learned my Spanish. It became very AT&T by teacher. And I started a business based on so it was a wonderful experience.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And Rohit, which you mentioned to touch on your kids a little later on in the presentation about how they've brought some of your cultural heritage into their lives, having been born, I imagine, in the US. What about you? Would you encourage your kids at some point to fly an STS abroad or even go move abroad permanently?
I would definitely out videos and stuff when you go you can get many what that place is, and a lot of times there is a lot of stereotypical stories about a place that gets carried forward. Like for America, it's the Hollywood movies, and that's how I associated, or long back, that's how I used to associate it with. But when I came over here, you talk to the real people, you get to understand, you see all sides of things, and you can make your own connections. So that's the beauty when you're traveling or you go to a different place. You make your own memories around it, and you make your understanding about the place.
Great point. Yeah. Okay. And coming back to your work, which is something we spoke about, that this kind of multicultural aspect the work that you do today, is there something you think that gives you an advantage, for example?
Yes, in a way it does. Like with the whole working with high school students and working on the VR projects. So the last event that we did was in December, and we had a team from Germany participate, and that was not a coincidence. I'm based out in Kansas City. My partner, he is also over here in Kansas City. So to pursue students or teams or schools outside the US, that was an active move. We wanted that. This is a unique program. We want to have other kids, let them build out their own communication, let them understand different things around it. So that that kind of helped from my personal background where I have moved from India to the US. I want to pursue more teams. We actively were looking like our communication, Michael and I, we want a team from Italy to participate. We want a team from India to participate. And with the event that we want to do in a couple of weeks, we hope that diversity comes forth where teams are from across the world are participating and they are collaborating. The projects that they come forth and all that, it doesn't really matter because we are all learning this technology and they are at a very young age that they are getting an exposure to this technology. So it's a win-win situation.
Sure, definitely. Okay, let's kind of look at the other slide you forwarded us. And there we go. Now we're getting on to my favorite subject, that's food.
Yes. I know you specifically emphasize on the bring forward food here. So yes, I mean, a lot of the festivals, food is a big part, right? It's part of the celebration. That those food items that might be under cereal or they are just made at that time. These can be savory foods, this can be sweets. It just, I mean, they are across the board, and a lot of festivals are getting associated with it. So yeah, I mean, these images are a mix of savory and sweet foods. The one at the right bottom, these are like I would say, donut holes. These are sweet with gulab jamun. They are syrupy brown. It's my mouth is watering right now. Yeah, it is. That is amazing. If you and I've seen them at restaurants and Indian restaurants that serve dessert, so they generally carry it or that's available. So yeah, I mean, food is a big part of this.
Yes, yeah. What about? Oh, there we go. We've got a little. There's always one, isn't there? There's always one, but they've gone now. Rohit, do you? What about making these? I mean, how is it to rustle up some of this stuff in your kitchen?
Oh, that is going to be fun. I think I'll have to call my mom or my wife to explain that process. But I mean, this is like again with festivals and celebrations. I mean, a lot of times um, there is elaborate cooking that goes along with it, and I mean, it's again, it's a family. It's a way to get the family together. I mean, like over here in the U.S., it's Thanksgiving dinner, and Thanksgiving lunch, and putting it all together, and different pieces to it, or around Christmas. So again, like people just effort to get them, and there's elaborate work to it. But again, it's fun because it's much more relaxed time. The family is to get together, so you can assign tasks and get it done much quicker.
Like people like Irish pubs and I don't know, kind of or Japanese restaurants, maybe sushi, but reading it from people maybe have emigrated away from that home country, maybe it just doesn't taste the same. What could you say about the kind of Indian community where you live? I mean, is it easy to find places that just typical curry restaurants, for example?
That is so true. I mean, like a lot of the when you're looking at those restaurants or places which behind just they are trying to serve, or the palate or the taste that they are trying to serve, that might be different. The whole vibrancy and the culture around you is different, so that can be another reason. Generally, expectations to be
Yeah.
that is one thing. but I mean, it there's nothing right or wrong. It's just a milder version of it. Um, so for that reason, I've seen it milder, but I mean, I've also seen where you can ask specifically that can you make it much more traditional side, and there have been places which are more flexible on that side.
Yeah, yeah. I actually worked with a British Indian girl in the past, and her name was Gurdeep. I don't know if that's a typical name in India, but she was born in London, but her parents were Indian, and parties or dinners or even restaurants sometimes, in her bag she would have a very small bottle of very, very hot chili sauce, because she just, despite being born in London, England, she just couldn't handle the bland flavours, and she always had to pull out this bottle of chili sauce to put it on everything. That's absolutely a true story. But yeah, I mean, generally, I think of India, I think of hot food. What about curries? Who here is a fan of curry? At the back there in a foreign country. What about Indian food? Does that tickle your fancy?
I absolutely love Indian food, and as a matter of fact, I used to, for business, go to New York City a lot, and there's a lot of just like little holes in the wall, and every time I went, I would get Indian food because they really know how to cook it there. It is so tasty.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, it is. Anybody else? Has anybody had their mouths set to fire because of a hot food? Because that's the thing, isn't it? What's the trick, Rohit? Let us in on the secret. If you've had something really, really hot and you can't handle it, what should you do?
Stop eating.
Stop eating. Yeah. Step away from the plate.
This is a funny story. When I was in college, I came for my master's over here, and I had a friend from southern India, and he used to quite complain about the food being bland, not getting the spice level, and so on and so forth. Um, so I think one time we were at one of the grocery chains, and he I don't remember, it's these orange chilies that you get. They are habanero, or I don't know the particular name. These are
Yeah.
small chilies. They are more from Mexican food, I think. And so somebody challenged him saying that these are pretty hot. Don't try them. He's like, no, I can finish it off, and I can take complete. I'll finish this off and all that stuff. And he
Yeah.
ate it, and he was on fire. Literally, he gulped about I think maybe a gallon, not half a gallon of buttermilk, and tried to calm himself down. And I think it just took time. He took a lot of
Yeah.
water and everything. It just took time. So yeah, be very careful. Be very careful about it. I have not been of that adventurous type, but it can
Yeah.
get you in trouble. So I see a
Yogurt
raised
is
hand.
the. Yeah, there we go. That's Buddy. We've just given you the megaphone, Buddy. What have you got to say?
Oh yeah, I've had experience with Indian food. It'll kill your mouth if you're not experienced it. So this kid came to school. He had a presentation about India or something like that. He brought in some curry that was so spicy, and he had a presentation to go with it. We were eating it while we were doing it. The first bite I took was like, ah, not bad. The second bite was like, am I in hell? Is my mouth in hell right now? It was just on fire. It was just, oh my God. And we were just like raising our hands like, oh my God, please get us some more. Everybody in the room was raising their hand. When the teacher said we can all go, everybody rushed to the thing. We all fell down and everything like that. I was like the first one to get there. Everybody was like pushing and shoving. Oh my God. That I will never remember. I will always remember that moment.
Thanks for the contribution, Buddy. Yeah, we've all got a story to tell about hot food, and that's Buddy's. I've got mine, and Rohit, I mean, I'm sure, despite coming from India, you've certainly got yours as well. Let's move on to some other pictures that you sent to us. Here we go. And we're on the topic again of food, but we've got some different delicacies here. What are these?
So this is for Ganesh Chaturthi again. This festival is quite close to my heart, and even right now in the US, we celebrate this. So this is a picture from a couple of years ago when we were celebrating this at home. So we got the Ganesh idol, and then we decorated it with a lot of food items and um, just the traditional stuff around it. And yeah, I mean, a lot of the food items um, are related with, like, I think on the very bottom, right bottom, these are dates. Then those are gulab jamuns next to it, the round donut holes that we saw earlier. But yeah,
Yes.
this is again like the whole culture and bringing it within us in US and continuing it, and giving our kids that exposure, that this is the culture that we come with, and these are the festivals that we celebrate.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. And that's the thing with these things, isn't it? It doesn't matter where you are in the world. You could, most of the time, probably rustle up something of some similarity to where you come from, even if you're a long, long way from where you originally started. And it doesn't take much, does it? A nice, colourful tablecloth, a few flowers on the table, and a bit of sweet and cake and tea, and everyone's happy. That's what it's all about. Let's move on. You've sent some more photos about your life, and there we go. There's another photo. We're going to breeze past that just in the interests of time. And what's going on here? Where are they?
So this is a picture from a couple of days ago. There's my 4-year-old with my in-laws. They are they are here from India, and they are celebrating. This is in our backyard. They are all celebrating Holi together. So
Yeah.
this was again a way for a 4-year-old to enjoy Holi,
Yeah.
because of the COVID virus. We couldn't get it to celebrate on a grand scale that we
Yes.
generally do as a community. But this was the opportunity for them to just celebrate in our backyard, three of them, and then just using colors, water, and and luckily the weather cooperated, so it was little warmer, and he enjoyed it. I mean, he was looking forward for this for quite some time.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
a funny story, I didn't put in that picture, but when our son was 2-year old, we asked if we can introduce or show some of the Holi festival to the kids and to get them to celebrate. So these are 2-year-olds, and we kind of bought all these different colors to show them, and stuff like that. And we were all outdoors, so we asked them to apply and have fun with it. And we could see that they were scared, but we just said, okay, let's start it, and we started ourselves by applying it on ourselves, and then slowly they
Yes.
opened up, and then once they start with it, then it's hard to stop them. So they were enjoying themselves with all the colors. So it was really fun to see a 2-year-old with his friends all enjoying that festival together.
Yeah, yeah. And talking about, obviously, you've got some of the older members of the family there from India again, and yourself included. Now, what about the language element? Because this is, I'm a languages teacher. One of the reasons that we're standing here today, and I'm in hour number 18 or 19, I can't even remember anymore. But it's all about the language. So, what languages do you talk to with your son?
So we speak Hindi,
Yes.
and that has been our traditional language. A lot of I am Hindu, and
Yes.
coming from northern India, Hindi is the common language within that area. But if you are in India, I think officially there are 18, 19 languages that are spoken. These are official numbers.
Wow.
But beyond that, there are different dialects from region to region. If I grew up in the western part of the country, and they speak a different language in that state. So a lot of the states have their own languages. Hindi is quite popular, and surprisingly, English is spoken across the board. So English is seen as a language, probably that got carried over since the British were ruling over the country, and that
Yeah.
is used more commonly. And that is a language that can bridge gaps across, where if you are not familiar with one of the regional languages, you can speak English and you can get by with it.
Oh, right. So actually within the country itself, if you can't communicate, you mean, with your fellow countrymen and women?
Yes,
Okay. Interesting.
and this is quite common, where like a lot of the northern state languages, you will still be able to understand from a dialect perspective,
Yeah.
but there is a big difference between the languages from northern India and southern India.
Yeah.
That is completely different, and even for me, if I'm speaking to a friend who is from southern India, and if they are using their mother tongue or their own language, it would be difficult for me to understand that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, so that's it. We've got a bit of background about your family, how they're assimilating, or maybe some of the elder members and yourself included over the last 19 years, which is great. We've covered a little bit about the business element as well and how that's influencing you. But before we move on, look at some other pictures and cover some of the, let's say, more American festivals that you are involved with. What about your son as well in terms of opportunity for him? Because, what's he looking to get involved with? Because you're very much like the technological guy, possibly in the family. Is he going to follow in your footsteps?
I think he's too young right now.
Yeah.
For him, it's either superheroes or one day it's an astronaut or going into space or those kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think our goal as parents is to give him exposure and give him an idea about the tradition and cultures that we come with,
Yeah.
and also adapt to the new home. Or for him, it's he has stayed most of his life in the U.S. So for
Yeah.
him to see other things and understand it, we can give him exposure and then let him decide where he wants to go.
Sure. And just final question before we move on that part is, how have you tried virtual reality as a kind of a way to reach out to that culture that maybe you couldn't really get to?
So I just wanted to try out the All Space. I'm using it on my laptop right now,
Yeah.
and I kind of showed him this about an hour ago to see the space and everything, so that I can log in. And he was just like, "Who's this? Who's that?" And so he was pretty curious about it. He has yet to wear the headset because he's just 4 years old. But it's fun. It's fun, and hopefully he'll
Yeah.
probably get a chance to try it soon. But not so far. He has not tried it.
And one of the things as well, coming back to the hackathons and the events that you're involved with professionally, and maybe more so you're exposed to kids, young people using the technology. What are some of the things that you're learning from them as well, which is shaping your professional journey?
One of the biggest things I've learned since I've been working with high school kids or school kids is this generation, or because they are introduced to technology at such an early age, they are wired in a different way. Things
Yeah.
which take us more, and us meaning I am of an older generation, so there are times when it takes me more to understand or use from a technology perspective. They are able to grasp it much quicker. And one of the biggest things with virtual reality and augmented reality that I've seen is they adapt to it, and learn it and be creative with it in a different way than what we are. And that is the beauty of it. Just to see them work through it and understand it, it's just fun to see that going. And that's one of the biggest joys I have when we are working with students at hackathons.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, let's move on then, and we're going to listen to some music right now. It's going to play automatically, so we'll watch a little bit of this and we'll have a talk about it.
रंग बरसे भीगे चुनर वाली रंग बरसे और खीने मारी पिचकारी तोरी भीगी अंगिया ओ रंग रसिया ओ
That's fantastic. All right. Now, if I hadn't been here for almost a day, I would have danced around the room, throwing my arms around in the air, but I'm going to save that for tomorrow after a little sleep. But Rohan, tell us a little bit more about that music, and also maybe, is it a story being told at the same time? What's the deal?
So when we were talking about music, and generally a lot of the festivals that are celebrated, they either have the religious tone to it, or they have a religion associated to it, or the celebrations around it. So a lot of the traditional songs are either devotional songs or songs to the god, or praying and those kind of things. This particular song, as you can see, this is from a Bollywood movie from the 1980s. And they are celebrating Holi, and that in a fun way, or those kind of things with color and water and those kinds. So a lot of the culture gets reflected in movies, plays, and those kind of things. So
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I picked up the song. And I mean, if you a lot of the elements, when you have a community coming together, you want to dance, and you want to celebrate. So again, that's where the music would come into play.
Excellent. All right. And what are we looking at here? What's this represent for you?
Oh, this represents the new home. And
Yes.
This is from my 4-year-old school, where I think last year when they were celebrating Christmas and Halloween. So all the kids were dressed up. You can see our 4-year-old, he is dressed up as a magician over there. And again, he enjoys, he enjoys these festivals with his friends. He loves them, and he really enjoys them too. That he is spending his whole day trying to celebrate these festivals in the traditional way that they are done in the US. So that's actually we love that, and we ask him for it. He wants to adapt it, and he wants to go on it. Funny story last year when we were celebrating Halloween, and what Halloween, kids come along for candy home, and our husband pretty much was like patient, and he wanted to give all the candy possible that we had, and when the one we celebrated with the kids, like he was like, I don't want any kid over without candy. So he was just going on all day. So I was happy that you really got on this candy. I don't have to. But that was fun.
Yeah. Okay. I might have come in one yes, there was a few ones. What's this one? I've got a shot of things just out there in Kansas and City.
So the one I think that is the Union Station, over here in Kansas City, and traditionally that space was used for stations and voting and all that stuff. Now they have used that more for event space, and during the holidays they make it really colorful with a lot of lights and everything. So we visited last year more, and that's when we had captured. So it's very was it's a huge station, and I mean that's again the whole part of celebrating and being associated with the celebration going around these months.
Sure. Great. So it's touched on today the entrepreneurial element that you have, the technical side, the cultural side, etc. on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean, both in India or in the Indian Ocean there and near the Atlantic on the other side of the planet. What about, I guess, things over in India in terms of technology? Because when we look at web development, the speed at which as well India maybe and more people are having more money to spend on education as well. What do you see for the future of India? Is that going to be the global superpower, do you think?
From a technology perspective, I've seen India adapt to technology pretty quick. And Indians in general, they like mobile phones, smartphones, they are adapted, and that has a much bigger penetration in India, and they are able to use it. But India has other challenges. India can definitely grow from a technology perspective and have those capabilities built in and have that huge manpower available to build out some of those amazing applications or software products. But India has also other challenges that it needs to overcome before it can become that superpower.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, can we get a round of applause for Rohit, because he has given us a real great insight into his culture and yeah. Well, we've got a question at the back. Is that you, Laurel? No, is that Laurel? Paulie, could you just could you click the raise hand button, please? Look down bottom right, and we'll come to you immediately. Wait for that to come through. We might have a question. Can't hear you. No. You're muted. You need to unmute yourself, Paulie. Oh, here we go. You're unmuted.
Just giving you my applause for a great talk.
Yes. Let's give applause to everybody who actually came. Rohit, me, you, and anybody else that's here or watching on the live. I don't know if there's a YouTube stream going up, but certainly this is going to be recorded. So Rohit, thank you so much for sharing your everything about you. It's been really great to scratch a little bit deeper than the professional technological side that we often see about you. And what's the website? How can we catch up with you professionally speaking with VRoCKs? Where do we need to find you?
So VRoCKs is available. It's VRoCKs.org. That's the website. I can share that information also with you, Michael, and you can share with the audience later on. And we should be having that information for our event, the virtual event that is coming up in April by this weekend. So that would be available, and we look forward for some amazing students and teams and all you guys to be part of that and see what these kids they have always surprised us, and they will surprise you again. So.
Absolutely, yeah. Great. Okay, there we go. There's the main screen there of your presentation. That's Rohit's name. Get in touch with him if you haven't already. Add him as a friend. Reach out to him and see the great work he's up to. And there's the name of his organisation. That's VRoCKs. Thanks very much, Rohit. Thanks very much, everybody, for coming. We're going to take a 4 or 5 minute break, and then we're going to meet Matt Chacon from Seattle, another guy in the US doing some great things. And he's not going to talk about too much VR today. He's going to talk about his award-winning photography, and we're going to look at how you can build out your creative, descriptive language, looking at some of the photographs he's taken with his camera. So there we go. I'm going to take a short break. You know what I'm going to get. I'm not going to say it, and I'm going to have a glass of you know what. So there we go. Thanks again, Rohit. You're free to get back to your Friday evening. Thanks very much for coming. Thanks.